Hey everyone, it's Carla from Marie Lazo. How is everyone tonight? It is Thursday night and I have a topic. I want to talk about love spell fails. I'm going to do a longer live in my stories, but in case you just need a little taste, I'm going to be talking about that right now for the next few minutes because I want to put this up on my page. But anyway, you see here, this is a white penis candle. Ooh, my nail's still looking good. Anyway, I want to talk about love spell fails. You know, we talk a lot about love spells and everyone wants love. And, you know, I just finished a love spell course. And if you want to check it out, you can click the link in the bio or go to queenupclub.com/love. So I want to talk about love spell fails because I think we've all had some at some point. We've all tried, you know, some kind of love spell that we've heard of, and sometimes they might have worked, sometimes they might not have worked. So I want to talk about that today. So I'm going to tell a couple stories. I'm going to tell from my own life because I'm not trying to to be judgmental on anyone else because I have definitely done it. I've definitely tried it. So I was thinking, oh, you know what? Before I go there, there's a quote I got here from Trap Goddess Kalisha. She had this meme just a few minutes ago, and it's like, you're not in love, the sex is good, and you're lonely. Y'all both toxic. Now, how many of us can relate to that? You know, we're with someone, we got a friend with benefits situation, some kind of situationship going on, and we think we're in love, or maybe they're the only person that we're seeing at the moment, so we feel like, okay, we got something good, maybe this is love, maybe it's not. And sometimes we get sort of, you know, we get kind of caught up in the idea that this person that we are sleeping with is the one for us. But sometimes we're just sleeping with them. And, you know, that's it is what it is, right? But sometimes we kind of get sidetracked and we're thinking, well, this is the one at the time, so maybe this is really the one. And maybe if the sex is really good, we really start to like tell ourselves, yes, it's sunshine, babe. Yes, that's right. We tell ourselves all kinds of stories because, you know, dickmatized or getting dickmatized is a thing. You know, when you have like someone puts it on you and you're feeling really good and you're like, oh, this is love. It might not be love. It might just be good sex, you know, and nothing is wrong with that. We all gotta, you know, get our groove on. And like, you know, I have a cuffing season spell available. I have a spell course, and that's really what that's for. You know, it's cold. I'm in New York right now, so I understand when people want to get warm and have, you know, a little winter boo. I totally get that, but we also have to keep in mind that may become warmer weather, you know, after, what do you call it? St. Patrick's Day is time to go. You know, it's not really forever. So we have to kind of have that idea of this is good for now, but maybe it's not good forever. And we have to let it go. So now I'll talk about my own little love spell fails over the years. And I've had plenty. Trust me. So like I remember this one time I did this red candle spell. I had a red candle and I think I got up like extra early on a Friday morning because, you know, Friday is day of Venus and Freya and all these other, you know, love goddesses. That is their day. So I did a love spell. I got up early on a Friday morning. And I started the candle and I did everything that I was supposed to do. And then I went to work and some friends invited me out and then I went out. So I went out with some friends. We were having a really great time and it was a magical night. You know, I knew that the candle was working and I was like all sexy and I was just having a great time and I was dancing and I met this guy. You know, there's a guy, right? So I met this guy and we hooked up, right? And I stayed over the guy's house. But like the next day or so, like he was like nowhere to be found. Like he had made such a big show of putting my phone number in his phone. But when I tried to call him back later, like it went straight to voicemail and he basically ghosted on me. But the thing is, I had a candle going. So I thought, this is the guy. You know, I did a candle and it worked really fast. But it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, you know? And I was always taught that if you start a candle, you have to let it go all the way through. You're not supposed to stop it because it didn't work out. So I, let it go. But the thing is, I was so heartbroken. So by the time the candle was done, I was done. Like, I was just like, that whole situation it put me out for like a whole couple months. I couldn't even try because I really liked this guy. But when we think about it, how well did I really know this guy? I had just met him. I didn't know anything about him. But I thought, well, he came, I lit a candle and he showed up. Well, therefore, that means he was supposed to be the one. But that is not the case. So the fail for that was a couple of things. I didn't use discernment. So I probably didn't even do a reading beforehand. You're supposed to do a reading before you do a candle. Well, I didn't do that. So I didn't have a clear idea of what I wanted. I just said I wanted a red. Red means, passion. So yeah, I got it. So yes, did the candle work? I suppose you could say it did. But when I think about how upset I was and how disappointed I was afterwards, I realized, okay, I didn't do something right there. So, so discernment, that's something I've definitely learned. Like I'm 52 years old. I just had my birthday last week, and I've had my share of love spell fails, and that was definitely one of them. But I just got married, so I've worked my shit out. Thank goodness. There was this other time I did a yellow candle spell because after hooking up with a lot of different people, putting all my business out there in the streets, I was like, okay, I want to have friendship. I want a relationship that's going to be, I want someone who's going to be a friend. So I did a yellow candle, and I was doing like online dating at the time, and I met this guy, and he was really nice, and he wasn't trying to, jump into bed with me, and we were together for a few months before we even, did anything. And of course, and I had to be the person who's like, hey, I had to kind of push that agenda. He definitely liked me and all of that. But it turns out after 3 years of this, or it turns out 3 years later, I ended up breaking up with him because he had no sex drive. So in that case, I had gone into this with the yellow candle because, okay, I wanted friendship. But I wasn't thinking about what that could mean as far as not having enough sex, not having enough. This is like someone who was like, when you try to initiate sex, he was like, didn't we just have sex last week? Gosh, wow. And I'm like, how did I get myself in this situation? So a lot of these fails come from not really putting the thought, not really putting that pre-work into it. So in the spell course that I'm teaching these days, I put a lot of emphasis. Yes, it's sunshine, babe. Yes, it was awful. Can you imagine trying to get freaky or just try to have a little amorous stuff going on, and the guy is like, didn't we have sex last week? Didn't we just do this last week? And you're feeling like, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm like, I know I'm cute. I don't understand how come this dude doesn't want to get it on with me. I just, and that's making what's wrong with me, right? Anyway, so these days when I'm, good. Yes, they are very detailed. Yeah, I was thinking at first when I had the love spell emails, I was going to do one long email, but one spell that I wanted to maybe stretch out. But I'm like, no, I want to give you a few. So I have 3 different love spells that's in that email course. So if you're interested, and I have different kinds because different people have affinities for different kinds. You might be into fire, you might be into water, you might be more of law of attraction. So I have a little something for everyone. And also if you're someone that has issues with privacy, there's sometimes you can't do stuff in your house. You have nosy neighbors, and point about me mentioned oral sex in my petition. That's why you have to be specific. And I also talk a lot in my course about half-ass efforts equal half-ass results, because we really have to put that time in. You have to say, okay, this is what I want. And it's also about me being, or you being really clear on what it is that you want. Because if you're okay, oral sex is important to you, then put that in your petition. When we're talking about attracting the person of your dream that you really want, you have to be really specific. And I feel my fails were when I was not specific in what I wanted, or if I didn't use the right discernment. Here it is. I said I wanted this romance, and I did that red candle, and then boom, someone showed up right away, and I jumped. The better thing would have been for me to just wait a little bit, because the guy didn't even live in the same town. And so it was really easy for him to ghost, right? So we have to use discernment. We have to use our brain and not just, the different parts of our body that are into sex, right? So a big part of the love spells that I teach is the whole pre-work, because it's like, what is your intention? Like, what do you want? Like, maybe you do just want sex, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're saying, I want my soulmate, or I want a certain kind of lover, I want certain things, you can have that, but you have to ask for it. You can't just assume that you will get it or that you won't get it. And I talk about being in alignment with what it is that you're asking for. So if you're asking for one thing, you can't do something else. So these are like lessons that I've had to learn my whole 50 something years. Well, actually, I met the love of my life, I'd say, like when I was 49, something like that, 49, something like that. So it took me that long to kind of get it right. But so I say that to say there's always help. I mean help. There's hope, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. There's hope for everyone. And it also takes like looking at your own issues, looking at maybe family dynamics. I have this course that I do during Mercury retrograde called Retrograde Romance, when we look at like our stuff, like our past stuff from past relationships to also old family dynamics. Like all of those things play a part in what we do. So even though magic works, it totally works, but we also have to work on the real world level in our life and say, okay, what kind of choices have I made in the past? What things do I need to look out for? What are my triggers? What are the things that get in my way? How do I get in my own way? And sometimes we're not ready to hear that. When the ex calls and we're like, okay, instead of like, wait a second, this is the same dude that cheated on you twice before. We have to like step back and have, again, that discernment, that D word, the other big D, the D meaning discernment, and using your judgment, your best judgment, and asking yourself, is this the best choice for me? So that's kind of like where I am right now with like talking about love spell fails. So I'm actually going to do a longer one, but I wanted this is just going to be like a little taste for IGTV. But I'm going to come back in a few minutes and do something really long for stories. So that'll go on for like an hour or so. But I just want to give you a little taste. If you're interested, check it out or check the replay. And I hope you enjoy it. So I will be talking more about love spells. And I have my little white penis candle here. I'll be talking about that too. Clearly, I haven't used it. But we'll be talking about that later. So anyway, I'm Carla from Marie Lazo. Check out my stories. I'm going to go live in like a half an hour or so, or less. So I will see you soon. Bye.